Thank you so much for staying with CNN News 18 like you have been watching. We here on CNN News 18 have been bringing you constant live coverage from the Bharat Mandapam as the G20 summit under India's presidency is currently underway, and we'll keep bringing you all the details from it all through the day today. We're right now at the top of two, beginning with some breaking news at this hour, and this concerns the Prime Minister Modi and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak bilateral meeting. We are given to understand that the bilateral conversation is currently underway. Remember, this is a crucial bilateral between India and UK, where the free trade agreement, at least closing in of the FTA deal, might just be considered. Also, there were various other things that were being looked at, whether it's a defense partnership between India and UK, and also the pro-Khalistani extremism that might just be part of that entire conversation. To discuss all of that, let me now take this across to my colleague Sanjay Suri, who's joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Sanjay, we of course would like to know what is on the agenda. The most crucial thing is of course the FTA. What is the arrangement that India and UK planning to come up with? That will be a crucial aspect of this entire bilateral conversation between Prime Minister Sunak and Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Well, it is crucial. It is also the most promising in a sense, because it is one area where the two leaders meeting could lead to a very positive outcome. We've had the FTA completed 12 rounds. The 13th is underway simultaneously as the G20 proceeds. And we have Kemi Badenoch, the British Prime Minister in Delhi. We have Piyush Goyal, of course, overseeing everything. So all the decision makers are together. There are hurdles in the way, and these relate to very tricky issues such as agreement over services, agreement over migration matters, which have been made a part of the FTA, even though that strictly is not a trade issue. And these are decisions where it will be vital for the leaders to step in and take the talks past the hurdles that they have been encountering. Hurdles, of course, are hardly unusual for an agreement like this and towards reaching an agreement like this. So that could be the most positive aspect of the meeting between the two leaders. Also, there is very likely to be convergence on a focus on the Asia-Pacific. There are common strategic interests where there inevitably will be a divergence, will be on Ukraine. And Ukraine is a big issue, even if it is not being reflected directly and immediately by way of a listed agenda. That certainly will be an issue where there will be a divergence. There are views that Rishi Sunak has expressed, and in line, of course, with the British policy that is placing an emphasis on action against Russia that India will not want to be a part of. That will be the issue of divergence. But FTA is the most promising aspect of this meeting.
Right, Sanjay, thank you so much for breaking down all of those aspects of what possibly is the agenda of this bilateral conversation between India and the United Kingdom. We also would like to break down point by point on what really is on India's agenda as far as this bilateral conversation with the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is concerned, and what really is on the United Kingdom's agenda. Looking at India's agenda, like Sanjay was mentioning, of course, there is progress on free trade agreement conversations that India is looking at achieving. As far as UK is concerned, they in fact do not want to rush to it. They eye at details that work for all of the United Kingdom and not just the two countries so far. If we take a look further at India's agenda, greater access for skilled workers is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be speaking to the UK Prime Minister on. And on UK's agenda, of course, is cut in import duties, especially automobiles, scotch and whiskey. That is something, as far as economic and business perspective is concerned, UK is looking at achieving. India's agenda, more access for goods, especially textile, footwear, that needs to be done from the United Kingdom. That's something that will be part of the conversation. As opposed to that, opportunities in banking and telecom segments is what UK is looking at having to do with this conversation with India.